between the purple sage and the black sage. There's a tree tobacco down there, and there's another castor bean. See, the tree tobacco has the yellow flowers.
Oh, yeah.
Who pollinates that, or that tree tobacco? Yeah, something with a long proboscis, is that what it's called? So it's going to be a moth or a hummingbird or maybe all of the above. It might not be specialized, but it's not going to be a bee. It's going to be somebody with a long tongue or beak. So this is giant rye. With a thistle
We're
in
always
here.
selling them.
Pollinate buckwheat. And I said, yeah, and I said, well, why is that? And he says, because apparently the buckwheat flower has a little knobby that hits the bee, so it irritates them.
That's hilarious.
So the bees get.
That's really funny.
Yeah, which one? Because I like buckwheat flower myself, and I've never. Of course, I guess I haven't looked hard enough because I'm sure if I
dropped straight down, and the creek was actually undercutting the road here. Now, technically, the road shouldn't be here.
we
Right?
talked
The road
about
should be
that.
over there, right? You've already talked about that.
We talked about
But
that.
the cost of moving the road and the permits that it would require to put this creek back the way it's supposed to be, what we did was we pushed a bunch of dirt off of this with the class. We put some big boulders down at the bottom, and then we put this fabric on, and we just stuck willow cuttings right into the ground.
Which kind of willow?
Oh no, that looks like sandbar.
Yes. Sandbar willow.
Sandbar, and then there's a
Oh, there's
royal
a
just
royal
below
down
it,
there. Oh, yeah.
and then
That's mugwort right there. What's that one?
what's this one here? Another wetland indicator plant.
Euthymia.
It kind of looks like euthymia from this angle, but that's not euthymia.
Mule fat?
Mule fat.
Mill fat.
Yeah.
All right.
But from this angle, it did look like, what's the
So those are the three things that work.
Baccharis salicifolia?
Is it really? Oh, cool.
Those are the three that are best from what are called pole cuttings. You just take a cutting, just a stick, and you just jam it in the ground. It's unrooted and everything, and then it roots, right? So you can see that we did stabilize because this year the creek came up to here. It did slough a little bit, as you can see here. So what we'll have to do is dump some more soil in here and fill it up like to here, and then vegetate this last little section right here, and then this will be done.
So you can see we did it all the way back to here. You can see there's still the netting. So this was a pole cutting too.
This whole little
Back to
section
here. Now you can see some dead sticks, so not everyone made it. So when you do the pole cuttings, you want to do, twice as many as you actually want. But I'd say, at least more than 50% of them made it.
You guys want to come up here one more time and do the biotechnical over there? Because it'll take us all day to do that. I mean, a whole lab.
Yeah.
If you guys want to, we can schedule one more lab up here. What do we have, about 4 more labs?
I don't think there's
It's
that
like
many.
2 weeks.
The willows in, right? And then I'll have to get some more soil to backfill what fell down. And we can plant that cottonwood tree in there and a bunch of willow trees.
Well, we got our little cottonwood branch. Did we plant our cottonwood branch today?
Well, if you find a good wet spot for it. It wants to be down pretty low in the bottom. You could put it like right down in there. Right there. It's nice and moist. I bet you, that would be a fun thing to do, plant that. No, it won't bother, because I already have the willows, but it needs to be wet, and then we need to get the auger and pre-drill some holes, and then jam the cuttings in, and then backfill it and jam more cuttings in, backfill it, and then put erosion control fabric on the very top part. So that would be good. Once this is all stabilized, then, all vegetated, it'll stabilize itself, right? What they used to do in the old days is they just get in here with a backhoe and they would just dig it out all the time, right? And so what if the plants were in the way? They would just
tear them up.
Just dig the plants up. And our great flood control for the county of Santa Barbara loves to do that too. Is to go in and wipe out all the vegetation in the creek so that the creek will flow faster. If it flows faster, it causes more erosion. So they're living in the 50s when it comes
Well,
to...
it's a balancing act though, but both scooping out stuff is not a solution either. So the royal willow is the perfect plant, as is the mugwort, because when it flows fast, that plant just bends, it just gives. So the plants that need to be here are plants that are just going to bend.
Because every once in a while, this will top its bank and start. It'll go over the top of this, and the road will become part of the creek. That's how much water comes down here after about 5 inches of rain in 2 days.
Which it would have been before this road. This whole area would have been the creek. And before the 1955 fire, this probably was a lot broader drainage. See, because in the 55 fire, they had the same thing that happened in the Gap fires. You had bare hills and then it rained, and so lots and lots of sediment came down. So that would have been the soil.
In that canyon over there, not this
in that canyon over there. So that would have been the soil level before the 55 fire. See, so we could be standing, theoretically, we could be, 20 feet above the previous level, and this canyon could have been a lot, the creek could have been a lot
The road is
wider.
on top of the old creek, part of the old creek, for sure.
Right at your right knee.
This guy?
Yeah. Isn't that a rose?
No, it looks like that.
Or is I
don't think so.
Oh,
Ribes.
Oh, it is a ribes. Okay, that's the speciosum. See how the leaves are shiny?
Yeah. And super.
Okay. I didn't have my
Bristly.
glasses.
Well, that was the one thing I usually can identify as a rose, and I'm like, oh no, how do you know?
No, these are ribes. So we got hummingbird sage, ribes. So you've seen 4 sages today, everybody. We've got 2 different kinds of ribes here. The hummingbird sage, there it is there. So the thistle and the mustard are the major bad guys. The yellow mustard, yeah, along of course with this lolium, which is just my personal unfavorite. Makes me sneeze.
Was this bloom drop?
Yes.
Okay, so bloom is before
Early.
How do you eat that?
They make jams,
Oh, the gooseberry?
gooseberry and the currant. People make jams, but just because they're small, but you can just eat them.
I bet the bears like.
The bears like them.
Look at the sycamore that just popped up. That's a fort.
Yeah. So
Oh, cool.
here we have Venegas. That's in a riparian zone, so that could be a chaparral plant.
It's very goofy.
Flowering is Sambucus mexicana.
That's a good pollinator right there.
That's a good
That's
plant,
a
the
riparian.
elderberry. Behind all that is the poison oak. The poison oak is a great habitat plant. The berries are edible for the birds and the bears and such.
Not for
The
us.
birds love it. I mean, the only critters who struggle with it are us. Everybody else loves
Deers? Yeah.
it. Yeah, we got a sycamore that showed up this year, maybe last year, but we didn't notice it.
Is that the native or could it be a hybrid?
Well,
You never know.
you never know. You'd have to do DNA. Here's a new one you all haven't seen, Areophilum convertiflorum.
The
This is a
little
good-
yellow
The
flowers?
little yellow flowers. Here's our purple solanum.
That's a great pollinator.
Yep, and this one, our purple sage. So this was a good little template from here down to the gate. Is part of what we used as the template. Now there was no sandbar willow in here, but this is a good little section, especially on that other side.
You know what we need more of down the road is more of that Venegacia.
Well, we
It's a
just
good
we
pollinator.
just sowed about 4 flats of it.
Right.
The other day.
And these holes that we have, it'd be nice to put Venegacia in there. We can't plant too many big trees in here because the neighbors are just going to come and trim them all the time because, they want to get their huge RV.
Yarrow is not a true yarrow.
Right.
Okay, so
That's why we don't use common names.
yeah.
And
Charge that
this
girl
would be a
$5
great
for coming
bee
in,
plant. This is one of those asteraceous
Yeah,
that you were
yeah.
talking about.
This is
Isocoma?
yeah. So this is isocoma right there.
I don't know what that. What does that look like when it's
It
flowering?
has another yellow composite flower.
Okay. And the same thing with the. What about the mugwort? What does that look like when it's flowering?
You don't really notice its flower. It's a very
Doesn't?
small, nondescript,
Okay.
creamy, inconspicuous, beigey, tiny little flower.
Okay, so is that a Chenopodiaceae?
No, mugwort.
Like with the little greeny, crumbly things?
I think mugwort is still a composite.
Is it? Okay.
I'm not.
I'll look it up.
Really.
Tastes like shit.
If you were to dissect this, really, these are all flowers. Okay, these are just petals. This is not one flower.
Right.
This is hundreds of flowers. Hence, you open this up and you have all these seeds.
Right.
See all those seeds? So that's what makes it a composite, is that this is a flower right there that had an ovary that had one seed, right? So there's one flower, two
Right.
flower, three flower, and so on.
So that's a composite.
So that's a composite, or otherwise known as Asteraceae family.
Oh.
So composite is, or Asteraceae, is the largest flowering family, certainly in Southern California. I'm not sure, maybe in the world.
Right.
But it's a huge family. If you go to your book, the composite family is going to be huge. So
Interesting. Cool.
is this a composite flower right here?
Yes.
Look again.
Is that mustard? No, because it doesn't have the.
But this is just an individual flower.
Right. See, so that is not a composite.
I see.
Okay. So is this?
So it has to be two flowers.
Actually, even the petals on the sunflower
Multiple flowers
are
in one.
Flower,
themselves,
but-
so each
but you
petal
have-
is,
yeah. But is this a composite here?
No.
Break
Oh.
it open. Break it open.
So hard with it.
It takes a while.
Or you just start breaking it
I know,
open.
I've looked at those before under the microscope. And it's really not fun to key out those.
Here.
Is there a Compositaceae family? For some
Well,
reason
they
that
might have
sounds
used to
familiar.
call it that. It's now called Asteraceae. A-E. I always get a
Asteraceae.
E-E, Asteraceae. Just put a lot of vowels on the end.
So yeah, this is a composite.
Everything
Yes.
has a C-E-A.
So that's a composite.
And I've gotten used to writing.
That's really
the
cool.
Encelia is a composite. It's the vinegar.
It's a very complex field. How does water flow? What does it do? You know, the whole thing of hydrology. So if you want a job where you got a guarantee you're have work the rest of your life, get your master's in hydrology because there's a lot of work in hydrology. I just say there's not enough hydrologists.
That's the performance criteria. So we need to keep working on that,
Adding more grass.
adding more grasses. And so that this will give you an idea of how tough grassland restoration is. And we will go to that particular site so you can see that grassland restoration. And then the other one is a mitigation for some old wells that were test wells for possible developer from a long time ago. And those wells are going to be taken out. And so it's mitigating for taking those wells out, because to take them out, you got to get heavy equipment in there. It's going to disturb the property, and so it's part of the mitigation.
There's actually one old oil well in there too. They're going to remove
Yeah.
from way back.
So
then.
it's a water and a old well caps,
Yeah.
and so it's a combination. And so, which is great to have two projects come along, because we collect. You know, it's the same plant palette, and actually the mitigation project used our seed list from our first round of the restoration on the grassland. I mean, it's
And that's why we got the job
and
without
that's why
having
we
to bid
got
on
the
it.
job.
Because we did the
it's
first
our
round.
exact.
That's awesome.
It's our exact
Template.
seed. Yeah, it's our exact seed mix. It's. I mean, I'm looking at this going.
There's owls out there, there's a monarch butterfly.
There's the kites, which are the white birds that kind of hover.
Red tail,
Red tails.
sharpfins.
Yeah, it's a
It's
nice.
a nice piece of habitat.
It's a nice piece of property. So thank you everybody today.
Why not?
Good job. I hope you remember your plants. You've learned about 4 sages and 3 rhybies and some more weeds and hydrology.